welcome to the May 2nd meeting of the Reston Community Center Board of Governors. First order of business is approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Gosh. Glad I'm not, well, I am. I was going to say I'm glad I'm not singing, but I am after I went there. That's going to be fun. The next order of business is approval of the minutes of the April 4th, 2016 meeting.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Next order of business is the approval of the April 4th board actions.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those opposed? Next order of business is the chair's remarks, and yeah, it's been weird. I was looking at the program guide, and saw a lot of things that I wanted to do, and so I'm not paying attention. I went on the site, and it said, no, you have to wait till May 1st at 9 o'clock. I got on that line at 9:03. And one of the things that I wanted was already gone.
Wow, excellent. I mean, not for you, but
Yeah. You're all hard.
but good for us.
Yeah, but I got some of the other things that I wanted, but I really wanted to see this one thing, so I'll just have to go find it again. And since we're having a storm, my poem this evening is called "The Storm Overhead." Bill is correct. A storm is brewing in the dark of the night. You can see the flashes in the distance of the light, so bright in the very distance of the night, lighting up the sky. Sometimes it will be here very fast, and other times by and by. With the lightning zigzagging through the cloudy countryside, we sit and count till the thunder comes to where we abide, just to find how long we have before we have to hide. A sky that's lit with many shades of blue, black, indigo, and white. In it comes with the flow of the tide and up the river so tight. And so it goes round, and often you can feel it hide, reappearing just when it is time for that ebb tide. At times it's far away and others just overhead. Thunder shakes all around, and especially the garden shed. A storm is something people can really hate, as it can really frighten them and make them quake. Others will stand and stare in wonder at the frightening glare, and be at total peace with the elements and totally unaware of the many dangers that may be had standing there. And I was saying to Lila, I got home to a surprise because my dog hates storms. And so it was nice. The next order of business is the introduction of visitors. We have none tonight, so there will be no citizen input. Next order of business is the April 18th Long Range Planning Committee report.
And all of us were there, so I think it was very good to have everybody together. We spent some time reviewing the next iteration of this that Lila and the staff had put together, given the input from our community meeting. I think there were really no surprises. It was just a way of crafting in the input. I think our review, though, was very good and very thorough because it was fresh eyes for us to see this again. And we spent a fair amount of time noodling through the wording on some things and the order of things to make sure it was clear and couldn't be misinterpreted. And then some of two of the discussions went into things that are more immediate than long-range planning. One is looking at some of our outreach in the community and some of our different programs and how that might manifest, and particularly conversation about RA's work with the Lake House, which has spun off, and there's not a strategic plan, but with some efforts for communication right now. And then the other new thing is looking at the feasibility of, with the fee waiver, I'm not sure I have the right words, but sort of that gap when people fall off the, earning enough money to not be eligible to cover that for that next year. So that was something that is more immediate in strategic plans. I think those are the two big outcomes. the rest was a rewording, and then we will meet again with the community on June 20th. Since everybody else was there, have I missed anything? That's our report.
It's the way I recall it.
Don't sound surprised.
And next is the Finance Committee report.
Bill is the vice chair, so.
Am I?
Yes, you're welcome.
So Gerald, welcome everybody at 7:40. We're through the financial report that's attached. The only thing that we really saw is that we were underperforming in adult, teen, 55 plus, and youth departments. There's going to be a shortfall of $200,000 due to anticipated revenue underperformance and an $80K tax revenue estimate decrease. Fortunately, even with the revenue shortfall, we expect third quarter savings in personnel operating expenses to be able to return a net of about $500,000 to the fund balance. The professional touring artist series is above projections, as is theater rental revenue. Arts education is likely to meet its goal. Aquatics revenue is flat. Facility revenue is up. In personnel expenses, we're tracking pretty close to what we expected at the third quarter. We filled some vacancies. We are not currently filling the team director position because we're reviewing personnel costs and savings opportunities within the department. In operating, there's going to be an unanticipated expense for pool chemistry equipment. The system is in need of repair, and most of the parts for the system are no longer manufactured or supported, and the cost is going to be less than $10K, so it will not be a capital expense. No change to capital projects. Still looking at energy savings, looking at the white roof, and LEDs are included in FY17, and with that, we adjourn.
Thank you. So the next order of business is approval of those committee reports.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Next order of business is the board member input on activities attended, and we'll start with Tim.
I believe the only thing I attended was this fantastic celebration for Best of Reston. Esteemed executive director was a star performer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I also attended the
I'm done, yes. Trilogy. I can't go any further.
Okay, well, I also attended the Best of Reston and was delighted to see Lila given her deserved credit she has earned over the many years of service to this community. I also attended many of the Founders Day events and the lecture that was sponsored, I believe, by RCC of Patrick Phillips.
Yeah, the trust.
With
that's
the trust, which was a very good summary of Reston's place in the county movement, and attended the ceremony at the Hyatt, which was a beautiful tribute to him. And I was glad to participate. And my granddaughter attended Mutt's gone nuts, and her favorite part was the underpants being. That was the highlight.
I got into the head.
What can I say? I mean, high class culture.
Gone to the dogs.
Okay, and some other meetings, but that I can't recall at this point. But anyway, it's a good month.
It was a busy month. I actually did something. I too, like I think most of us attended Reston, Best of Reston. It was so nice to see a lot of it. It was really very exciting. And many things that we got from the Saturday morning. We were supposed to have the event. It was very cold and rainy, but they had the fair show. People did come out. At first weren't too many, and there was actually a line for the Ferris wheel. Some events that are indoor. There were a lot of people that came to the museum. to do a lot of things. And then the little kids from one of the preschools actually came to sing their song. So I was out there, chilling all day on Saturday to help out. I did as part of being on the board of the Reston Historic Trust. So it was a really good week, despite the weather. People were really out and a lot of good family activities. So I thought, people were saying if we could draw this many people on a bad day, how much would we get? So it was kind of neat. I also attended Leadership Fairfax. Had a breakfast was last Friday. And Bill Bowie won the Kate Hanley Award. It was really nice just to talk about how much you've just done for the county line and then about service. And what you said was really kind of nice. I was like, wow, you're a neat person. But people were very impressed. So that was quite a nice event to attend. I also went to the Mutts Gone Nuts, and after attending, I was surprised. I mean, I was sitting there, they had the guy with the underwear. Yeah. But he kept me laughing, and the dogs were pretty interested about it. I laughed. I was like, am I fine? But it was a fun show. I was kind of impressed, and I think I remember seeing the female trainer on Ellen. Something at the end of the show, I was like, I've seen her. I think she was on Ellen with one of the dogs. Also attended the appreciation luncheon. That was quite nice. It gets nicer and nicer each year. I had my mom come. She thought it was really nice. So yeah, busy month. And Gerald, who's not here, our other board member, has teased me throughout the month about the parking at Reston Town, so it has nothing to do with us. I still get stopped. I'm like, it has nothing to do with RCC. So sorry to interrupt that, but it's kind of a little running joke now. It's not becoming.
I don't have too much new to add. Best of Reston, which was a glorious celebration for Lila. And really nice to see the staff there, and I think really appreciating you being honored as well, which says a lot for you. Founders Day, I had a conflict with our swim team, and I know that's not directly RCC, but RCC is so supportive of the Masters team. So tiny little bit of bragging. It was a zones meet with 450 swimmers and 72 teams, and we won the large team division by swimming more relays than you should ever try to swim in 2 days. But I did manage to then straggle in with dry hair to the celebration of life for Bob Simon, which was truly beautiful, just really nicely done. And also the volunteer appreciation lunch, which was wonderful. And kind of neat. You did a great job, I think, highlighting the people and the programs through it. So that's it.
April was a blur. It really was. So number one, thanks to everybody that came out to the Leadership Fairfax breakfast. It was very, very special and a great event. Congratulations to my dear friend Lila for her well-deserved, overdue Best of Reston. And about 96 hours before that, she celebrated the wedding of her son, which was a fantastic event as well. So congratulations on that as well. The Founders Day ceremonies were pretty cool. Christina's Alcorn's book came out, and she was signing at the museum. I'm not sure it's on Amazon yet.
Right Owl Books, I think it is.
It is available, but bought a few copies to be able to give those away. And then the next day, the event just blew me away. Celebrating the life of Bob. It was the best event I've ever attended in Reston, period, by far. It was nothing's even a close second to it. So congratulations again for the production. It was unbelievable. And then most of the rest of the month spent in and around Park Authority, which kind of indirectly affects us. We released our 10-year needs analysis and have been going out to the public and letting everybody know what's going on. And the top 4 things out of our needs analysis are not what people would generally think they are. The number 1 thing was more trails. Absolutely, the biggest thing by far that people across the county asked for. Number 2 thing was aquatics and gym space. Again, something that we're striving for an awful lot. 3rd thing was land acquisition. People want us to acquire and preserve as much open space as we possibly can. Fortunately, we don't have an open checkbook to be able to write checks for land that becomes available, but, you know, we're the largest landowner in the county and continuing to look for opportunities to expand where we can. And then the fourth thing that jumped up was dog parks. Dog parks was huge, but it was our fourth greatest need. We only have 9 county dog parks, and one in Barron Cameron is the biggest of all of the dog parks that we've got. So we've got to continue to do a better job about providing opportunities for dog owners. And just to give you a little perspective of how many dogs are in the county, within 1 square mile of the Barron Cameron dog park, there are 1,000 registered dogs just within 1 mile. So that gives you.
One thousand one now, I just read.
Okay. It gives you an idea of the need of those kinds of facilities. Athletic fields were 26th on the list.
You're very quiet.
Way down. And I think the other thing to look at it from perspective, and I'm saying all of this because we got a bond this year, so we need to start to get the word out. Gerald Zavala is going to be the captain of the green team promoting the countywide Park Authority bond this year. But when I joined the Park Authority board, we looked at our needs analysis and we said, okay, if somebody could write a check today and we could meet all of our needs, what amount would that check be? And back in 2004, that number was $350 million. That was the gap. So if we look at the needs analysis now, 10 years later, and what we actually need, if we go to 2030 in real dollars, we'll be approaching a $1 billion gap in that funding. So it's very very important for us, number one, to get bond programs approved. Number two, to work as hard as we can from a personal standpoint for supportable meals tax to close the gap and take the burden on the taxpayers for those things that taxpayers pay for. And so, you know, we're doing everything we can to maintain the best park system in the country.
How are the needs determined?
20,000 interviews. Very
Random or?
no, focus groups, athletic groups, user groups, volunteer groups, telephone random sampling, online input. It was all.
It's just not a focal minority.
No, it's a very impressive needs assessment.
I understand, but often a lot of things that come out is the vocal minority.
Yeah, no, it was.
No. This wasn't that at all. This was across the board, and took almost two years to put together, conduct, and compile. So it was something else. And then the last thing I attended was the IPAR retreat last week, after attending a meeting with all of Kathy Hudgens' appointees for boards and commissions that she had previous to the IPAR retreat. Other than that, sitting back, smoking cigarettes.
When did you sleep?
And my question is,
When did you sleep?
you have to sleep, but how's your mom?
She's fine.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, I wanted to ask you.
She is fine. She is fine. I told my mother what my mother used to tell me.
Oh, dear.
Hard
Always go well.
hard head makes soft meat.
Yep.
So that's the last time she will ever try to lift a 40-pound KitchenAid mixer.
They want to extract that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Move it closer to the ground.
The moving thing.
But I think you're right, the Patrick Phillips lecture was very, very well done and well attended. Best of Reston was also, she tremendous get-together for our executive director, probably mentioned many times. Let's see, the volunteers luncheon was great, very well done. I heartily recommend that caterer for MLK. Not that MLK is the dinner is not all that great, but it would be nice to see the menu change a little bit. So, let's see.
I look forward to that chicken.
Probably a little pricier. That was a good.
Yeah, that was good. They can't do that for that.
The numbers are a little bit.
Put it on the bond issue.
There's your gap.
But Leadership Fairfax, is great to see Bill's talk so well received. People I talked to were just so pleased with Bill's presence in Reston and the county, and it's nice to see the great presence for Bill Bowie. Great reception. He would have been a great vote.
I would.
I would have loved it. You're still putting your name in, I said every week.
Gina said he never would have made it.
Well, Gina's qualified.
This road priority task force that I'm on is starting to kind of reach conclusions, and there's a meeting on the 18th at the South Lakes High School cafeteria to kind of flesh out the issues and talk 7 o'clock. 7 to 9, and talk about getting another public sort of hearing of the issues. So,
I'm sure they'll hear plenty.
absolutely.
Speaking of airing of the issues, Madam Chair, may I say something?
Yes, you may.
How are we responding to or providing input to RA on the announcement about the lake house that they are going
I was just
into
gonna ask the same question.
the child care business?
Well, I sent a note to Ellen and Kate saying that I would attend the May 26th meeting to hear the report from the working group. So I was a little surprised by the announcement that came out on Friday about the child care programming. So I assume they'll talk about it a little bit more in depth at this May 26th meeting. And I haven't gotten a response to the invitation to have Kate or Larry or someone representing RA come and meet with us, but I have held June 13th tentatively for that date, and I'll continue to pursue it and hope that we will have an opportunity to have a conversation.
There's a couple of things about it that really bother me as it relates to the board, because we are all members of RA, and number one was the biggest thing that I saw. They listed all the schools and flat out left out Dogwood School. And I don't understand. Did they?
Armstrong. It said in the article that the schools that were listed are listed because they have the longest SAC wait list, and that other schools may be added. So that would definitely be something that we could mention to, and I'm sure that other people will.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be really good. And then the second thing is that people still don't understand the alphabet C here in Reston. And if you read the rags, there's still some people associated with the rags that are writing in the rags, thinking that somehow RCC is involved in all of this. And when you start to add these things up, small district 5, taxes with increasing RA dues, and who knows what's going to happen with the transportation thing, it is starting to add up to be quite a bit of money. So, if we need to express our concerns. We've got a very active YMCA that does this already. We have some programs in schools. We have our own programs that are after school. So needless to say, I don't say a whole lot about these things, but this one's got me pretty concerned.
And every single word you said. And I posted anonymously on one of those posts. I went to the office to figure it out. My concern is that they purchased this building, as I've said on the record many times, for an exorbitant price. The price is ridiculous. If you wanted to, one, have a problem, a homeowners association, they are a homeowners association. I know they took the H out of it, but it is what it is. It's a homeowners association. The members are homeowners, property owners in this area, and not outside area. So three things. One, if they wanted to provide daycare, which I think is not what a homeowners association do, you certainly don't need a $2.3 million lakefront facility to do
I did
that.
read your comment.
You could get a storefront that's empty somewhere, or lots of things at a much cheaper rate. Secondly, the differential between the RN members and non-RN members was $35 a month. You pay, as you mentioned, $600 of RA fees. You pay the RCC fee depending on your property value. And if you don't get anybody swimming in tennis, which are the big things, you use that for the pads and the links, which just doesn't cost you that much to do. So that price is a big problem. Secondly, I don't know if they're going to do this, but I would hope that they'd have a wait list for people outside Reston until all Reston residents have RA resident or RA members have the right to take that on. Whatever number, I'm up to 50 or whatever. The insurance costs for providing daycare have got to be exorbitant. I mean, you just got to read the newspaper, there's a major risk of money.
Plus you have to be licensed if you do it over 2 hours.
Yep, exactly.
So this is really, they're seeing,
Then
I
you've got
guess,
transportation, you're providing transportation, another insurance risk in terms of special buses, travel plans.
I think they're seeing it as an outgrowth from their camp program, but it is a different animal.
Right, very definitely.
And the child care laws are different. You know, that's their problem, but I think that's how they're rationalizing it. And there is a need, for after school care. But the other points are very concerning.
Well, hopefully maybe the meeting on the 26th will address that in greater detail. And then if not, perhaps the conversation on June 13th will give us an opportunity to hear more detail. I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of the major issues that I have with it is that the homeowners association's job is not to stop development. It's not that it's mandated, and development there couldn't have happened anyway, because it's a stormwater management issue that's on the dam. It's the whole, there's many restrictions. So, anyway, enough said.
I think to take this further, I think we're going to be careful. But our issue with, and I raised this point on the agenda a few weeks ago, a few meetings back. My issue was RA's encroachment overall, not just the potential building. And that's just the most current one. But duplication of programs will be suffered from attendance if there's more offerings that are cannibalizing existing programs. That's not a problem. And I think it's a lose-lose situation. And I don't know who is someone trying to build an empire? I mean, what are they trying to prove? What is, and we have facilities we're trying to get utilized. They seem to be buying facilities to create the demand that isn't there. Does it make sense?
And the thing is if you look at the purchase price of it, and you look at the prices they're charging with the capacity of the kids, there's no way they're going to break even on that. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Do they have longer term plans and their thought is we could do this quickly now just to get some cash flow going?
That's not
That's
the
what
way
I'm
it's being
curious.
portrayed.
And also, if you're using it for kids stuff, all afternoon, all day, your opportunity then for rentals and weddings, I mean,
Goes away.
people are gonna have to push away the
Smell
blocks of
apple
smell
juice
of the
and
apple juice.
cracker and all that. I worked at a preschool up there. It's like,
It's not where you get married, huh?
Well, depends. What you want for your wedding.
Kids can take it. They can as many as
But mainly, I felt, at board meeting, there's no opportunity for dialogue. Basically, we would be members of the audience and no one speaking.
But we have a problem because anytime there's three of us at a meeting, it
Right.
becomes an official public
Right.
event.
Yeah,
We're
that's
subject
true.
to
Right.
FOIA and everything
I mean, you
else.
can all certainly attend as already members.
Sure.
There's nothing at all that would prohibit or
But as a
prevent you
group.
from attending. But I do think it was important to say that to have official representation in that context is just too cumbersome. It's just too cumbersome. So hopefully there will be an opportunity on the 13th, and if not on the 13th, then I think that's a Monday night that they do not have a scheduled meeting. So hopefully they'll be able to visit with us.
Yeah, there are very few times that we butt into other people's business, but I think this calls for a response from us.
And John, to your point, I mean, it's not just this facility. I was flipping through that Reston magazine that came, I think, just last week, and noticing, with fresh eyes, a lot of their program offerings, right in our sweet spot.
This is fundamental issues. I mean, I'm not a tennis player. I like tennis. I like kids tennis. Their tennis program costs them $1 million a year. That's net of fee, like $800,000 net of fees. And I have nothing against tennis. We go to tennis courts. In hindsight, I don't think we need that many, but we have them. So why not give it out like they do the softball fields and soccer fields, the basketball courts, to a not-for-profit association? Let them run it. But no, they have staff who a lot of them are tenured using the word long-term staff, who are paid healthy salaries and get the benefits with it. So Reston Soccer, Reston Youth Association, Reston Basketball, none of these associations have this. They provide the fields for us, which is good. Why not do the same thing with tennis? We are subsidizing tennis program. Pools, more difficult. You get some insurance issues and things like that. I can understand that, but no one says that because you get a bunch of encouraged people who are all tennis fanatics and wish them luck. It's a great sport, but I shouldn't be paying for it.
Well,
You're gonna have fun at that meeting.
well, I think you all, there are two things. You raise very important issues, particularly from your perspective as members of the association. And those are, again, your option to pursue as individuals. With respect to RCC and RA programming and potential for competition there that's maybe not warranted, or conflict, or to learn more about what programming is contemplated for the Lake House is worth a discussion. And the invitation is out there, and hopefully we'll be able to schedule it on the 13th as I've held for the calendar. And if not, we'll find a date and have that conversation, because the staff, there is a lot of staff-to-staff collaboration and consultation, and we do work hard to not be in conflict. We do a lot of joint programming, and particularly spend a great deal of effort to fit the natural assets together for big events, the Multicultural Festival, for summer programs and things like that. So, I don't want to leave this conversation with the impression that there's no communication and there's no effort on a staff-to-staff basis to be smart and to leverage our resources as efficiently as we can. And I think it's valuable for RA to hear from you, and however they want to engage that conversation. Maybe to just give more confidence and clarity to what the two organizations' portfolios are and what our strategic directions are, and to make sure that we're heading in parallel paths in a way that makes sense for the community. So I'll try to get that confirmed for June 13th, and I'll certainly convey that there are concerns, and we'll keep on task with it.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Well, it was going to be a short meeting, Bill Bowie, but
There's one problem.
This was on my head.
I know.
I don't like to cut it. So we get the new business.
And you-
No.
No.
No,
That's got comment now.
Oh, that's time.
Time out, break.
You have to make up the time now.
So he's good. No, I attended most of the things that other people attended. The Patrick Phillips event, the Best of Reston, it was a yay. We were always really loud in the room.
So
The
very
Rhythmic
warm.
Circus, which was absolutely fantastic. And I have been doing a diabetes benefit, which I just did this past Saturday, for 25 years. And one of the kids in Rhythmic Circus was one of our tappers with Attitude 50 watch grow up and go to college.
Oh, wow, that's so great.
Yeah, because when they started, they had a 5-year-old in that group.
Yeah.
Who's now a father somewhere. Founders Day, the RCO had its fundraiser, casino night, the Bob Simon event. We had RCC meetings, the open house that Kathy had, where you could go and see all the things that are planned for, but not totally approved yet, for Reston. The volunteer appreciation luncheon, the Mud Spa Nuts. And the thing, one of the things I really liked about that was the little dog that walked the tightrope was named Charlie. That's my dog's name. It was fun. But that also shows you why the Mark Brochet is right on target with his Mr. Vaudeville, because we just had the best time watching dogs. Through whatever.
That's right.
Yeah,
Very
it was great,
thoughtful.
yeah. And I went to my annual MS fundraiser and the diabetes benefit this Saturday night. The next order of business is the executive director's report.
Well, you have it here. I would, a couple of things that haven't been talked about. We're still working on the credit card processing gateway. That had a telephone conference today with County Attorney's Office and Department of Information Technology and the Department of Finance, and you would not think that a 2.5-page agreement would warrant all this high-level palaver, but it does. And it's not as easy as it should be, but hopefully it will conclude successfully, because it's really what we need to have it to move into the next upgrade for RecTrack, which is a significant software upgrade, not just an update to a platform that people were familiar with. And hopefully the new platform will give us an opportunity to integrate RecTrack with our desktop publishing process, which will hopefully streamline that a bit more. There's been a lot of training involved in this, and I really want to give a round of applause to Pam Leary, who has been training the entire customer service team on how to navigate the new software, and at the same time helping program staff find and access the new features that will be relevant to them. And that has all been happening while everybody's doing the jobs they're supposed to be doing anyway, so she's doing a great job with that. I think some of you remember that, a few years back, the Red Cross instituted a fee system related to its Learn to Swim program that, had we stuck with the Red Cross curriculum, would have represented a significant, nearly a 2.5 times higher cost to kids participating in that. And so there was a consortium of providers who developed a curriculum for, learning to swim is remarkably similar from one curriculum to another. So this group that Joe Leary was a part of, and Laura Kowalski at Reston Association and others, developed a curriculum called Virginia Swims. And that curriculum is now the curriculum for the county. It's the curriculum, it was recently adopted for Loudoun County. It's being looked at all over the country, and there's a jurisdiction even in Oklahoma that's adopted the Virginia Swims curriculum. So it's been very successful. The Leisure and Learning team launched the new e-learning program option and received a lot of favorable press attention for that. We hope that will prove to be popular for people who want to pursue learning in the convenience of their own home and through their own time resources. They've also delivered their first off-site program to Harbor Park and was very, very well received. And they're working with that neighborhood to do more programming there. The prom dress giveaway event in April is just a massive success. Hundreds of teenagers are able to come and get their prom dresses and shoes, and it's just a huge party. That day is just an incredible day. It depends on generosity from the entire community, and now Boston Properties is a big partner with us in that dress collection. They encourage all their tenants in Reston Town Center to participate, and hundreds of dresses are collected that way. I think they don't, they sure get a lot of flack for some of the things they're doing, but I want to give them kudos for and Boston Properties steps up also every year with the Thanksgiving food drive, and they do a tremendous amount of community relationship building, and almost every weekend is an event at Reston Town Center that raises money for some community-based or regional or national charitable effort, and it's pretty significant the amount of resources they devote to that, so I wanted to give them some props for that. We talked about the center stage successes in April. There was tons of positive feedback from Rhythmic Circus. The mutts were nuts. I don't get it, but I was there, and clearly others did. Lots of happiness in that room. I don't know. I thought the comedian was kind of funny.
That's why I laughed.
I enjoyed him the most.
It was fun.
It was very good. And we've had some beautiful art in our galleries all through the month of April. We have Art from Older Hands was the exhibit in April. And I'll tell you, if you don't think that you can learn to be an artist later in life, you should look at that exhibit every year, because it's quite clear that people can find their inner Van Gogh and do beautiful work. Grandma Moses, sure. And I did a lot of things in April that were fun. And way to go. Way to go.
That was a cool thing. Both of you, it's very
It was a
impressive.
good month for RCC.
And what the one thing you didn't mention, what's the RCC's new YouTube channel?
Oh, as of today, we have an RCC YouTube channel, and I'm waiting for Paul Goldberger just to acknowledge that the tribute film has a bite of him, words from him in it, and once he does and says that's okay, the tribute film that was at the Simon celebration will be our first RCC YouTube product, and it will live permanently on our website. It'll be linked to the YouTube tape of it, and it'll be the first, I hope, of lots of different video uploads to that channel that people can see themselves in our
Who's heading up that effort? Is that me?
That's our media team, yeah.
And I had never signed up for programs in the past.
On WebTrack?
With WebTrack.
This was your first time?
Yeah, and it was so easy. It was really, really quite simple. And it immediately told me, Flash, this is go.
Oh.
So that. Okay, next order of business is old business.
Don't look at me.
No old business here.
Oh, okay. No old business, new business.
Well, I don't want to make a big issue out of this, given the CAPS scenario, but we're going to
Sports
talk
bill?
20 minutes. No, but anyway.
Yeah.
There's a fair
I lost
amount.
my head.
There's a fair amount of angst over the projected series of road improvements through this group, the priority transportation group. And a lot of complaint that the county staff hasn't explained in detail how long this process can take, and it's not going to be an overnight situation where the levels of service are going to just plummet here in Reston. But one of the things that's been debated is the funding is an outrageous amount of capital outlay from the county's perspective. Therefore, a tax district or some version of a tax district would be the proper kind of need the ability to get the funds. And of course, small tax district 5 has been kind of implied as one of the vehicles to get this tax.
Oh.
And I think I can safely say it will be an unanimous vote for no in the concept. So on the 18th, I think it's probably going to crop up. Can the tax district be amended to include some version of a transportation fund to fund some of these long-term projects? So without talking great length, without great metaphysical debate, I think the answer pretty much would be, we have our mission, we know what we do, we do it well, and it's not meant to be a special tax district for anything beyond the Reston Community Center.
This meeting on the 18th, not that I'm offering, but do you need other people there to voice that opinion?
Well, it's more of a public forum.
Right, as I asked that, but.
Well, it's been kicked around informally, in effect of the task force effort that was.
But legally, I think legally, if they want to establish a tax district, they have to establish a new one. You can't tack this purpose
No.
onto an existing, the definition of these are single-purpose tax
Right.
vehicles, so there's no
Sewer
way.
water district.
Right, right,
There's
so,
got to be a public vote.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't follow that closely, but I believe the Reston Now article indicated that supervisor was one leading the charge on that, and she was in favor of that and stuff in Reston. If you look, I'm just quoting what it said in the article. I didn't comment on it. That
Is there anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second
All
that.
right.
The May 2nd, 2016 meeting is adjourned.
That's the most I've ever talked to the board.
I know.
It's accepted.